afternoon, everybody. My name is Doug Gordon, and today I'm going to be talking about high performance success without stress. I have a question for you, though, first. How many people have ever walked into a room where two people have just had an argument and you can feel the tension in the room and you feel like turning around and walking straight back out? Anybody ever had that? Or alternatively, have you ever had a really, really busy day in work? We are absolutely knackered, and you know you've got a conference to go to at the end of the day, and you're absolutely, you don't feel like going. You make a pact with yourself or your partner or whatever, and you end up going to the event, and then when you get there, the joy that happens, the laughter, the banter, next minute you're dancing your socks off, and you feel fantastic the next day. Ever had that? What is that? Well, it's energy, of course, dissipating from one person to the next. If you optimize your energy, you can optimize your performance in life and in business too. So that is the key. And the key in terms of really making your startup happen, or make more sales, or make the best relationships with your clients, or even make the best relationships with your own other half, it's all about the acronym that I have called MAKE. And that's all about mindset or motivation. It's all about actions and activities. It's all about knowledge or having a knowing faith in yourself. It's all about energy and enthusiasm. And I'm going to go through that MAKE acronym just to give you an idea of exactly what I mean. Now, in terms of mindset, you always need to motivate yourself first, then the people around you, and then your clients to buy as well. Really, really important. Secondly, you need to have a real kind of positive attitude in terms of setting the intention of thinking big. I had a client, a guy who was on my radio show, a guy called John Matone. John wrote a book, and he put it out with the intention of making money and hopefully getting a few gigs. He never did. 10 years later, he put the book out again, knowing that that actual book could give a bit of added value to people. And he put it out there just with the intention of trying to add value to people, and suddenly became a New York Times bestseller. So have the intention of what you want to achieve. If you ever go into the local town or city and you want to have a cup of coffee or something like that, why go into the Costa Coffee, or why go into the Starbucks? Why not go into instead the best hotel in town? It might cost you an extra $5 for that individual coffee, but you might end up sitting next to someone that can change your life or give you some business. I did, and it worked for me. The other thing is, well, I used to always travel. I still do travel business class. Well, not now, obviously, because we're all stuck indoors. But in the old days, I used to travel business class on planes and trains, because you never know who you're sitting next to. One time I sat next to a CEO of a technology company who a year later got me into his business and paid me 5,000 euros to go and do a talk to his guys. And that is how amazing it can be if you're in the right place in the right time, but make sure you hang around the right people so you can achieve that. In terms of setting the intention and also thinking big, I also knew a client of mine who had moved his team across from UBS Private Bank, and they set up a company called Vestra Wealth. And Vestra Wealth was an investment management company in London that when they started off, they got an office for 100 people. Literally 100 people could fit in this office, and there's only 10 of them. And I said to him when I went in, I said, Duncan, you're very brave here in terms of the amount of people and the size of the office. And he said, Doug, I'm setting the intention of what we want to achieve. I'm setting the intention that in the future, people are always going to be here, and they're always going to make this business grow. And sure enough, within 3 years, they'd filled that office. Within 5 years, they had 7 billion under management. And within 7 years, they got bought out by the Liechtenstein Investment Group, and they all became multimillionaires. So set the intention of what you want rather than what you don't want. There was a company that I did work with before who also very much focused on cost and competition. And sure enough, where focus goes, energy flows. They never grew. So think about what you want rather than what you don't want. Another great story to emphasize the mindset is there was a young man, and he was walking along the coast in Galway. And as he was walking along, he looked over the side and he could see 3 gleaming stones, like these beautiful diamond-like stones that look absolutely stunning. And he clambered down the cliffside to pick these stones up and had a look and went, wow. He brought them back to his dad. And he said, Dad, look at these stones. What shall I do with them? And his dad said, I'll tell you what, son, take the first one, go down to the local market, make a market stall, make it look pretty, put a stone in the middle. And then if someone comes up and wants to buy it, just show them the peace sign and nothing else. He goes down and makes a market stall look really pretty, puts the stone there. And eventually a beautiful young lady comes up and goes, wow, what a beautiful stone. How much do you want for it? 2 euros. Deal, done. Thank you very much. And she goes back really happy. And he goes back to his dad and goes, Dad, I got 2 euros for that stone. It's amazing. What shall I do with the next one? He says, I'll tell you what, son, go to the local diamond merchant. He sells precious stones as well. Go in there, show him the stone. If he wants to buy it, show him the peace sign as well. He goes into the diamond merchant, he shows him the stone, the diamond merchant goes, wow, what a beautiful stone. How much do you want for it? 200 euros. Deal, done. Thank you very much. He goes out and goes, Dad, I got 200 euros for that stone. That is absolutely incredible. What am I going to do with the last one? He says, I'll tell you what, son, take the last one, go up to Dublin, go to the National History Museum, go into the precious stone department, find the professor, show the professor the stone and see what he says. He goes in, he finds the professor, shows the professor goes, wow, what a beautiful stone. How much do you want for it? 2,000 euros. Deal, done. Thank you very much. He goes back to his dad. He goes, Dad, that's incredible. I just got 2,000 euros for that stone. What does this mean? His dad goes, don't you know, son? If you believe in what you have to offer and hang around with the right people, you get very different results. And this is exactly what happened to me when I was in the investment management industry. I would go and have the same product and the same pitch book and go and speak to a financial advisor and get £1 million. Go and speak to a stockbroker, get 5 million quid. Go and speak to an asset manager, 10 million quid. A private banker, 50 million quid, an institutional pension fund, over 100 million quid. Hang around with the right people and have the right mindset and you get amazingly different results. Secondly, in terms of the MAKE acronym, is actions and activities. And in terms of actions and activities, you really need to know where you are in your business and where you're looking to get to, and set goals and business plans in place to make sure you help get to there. Now, in terms of a business plan, most people put a business plan together for the year. They put the target in place, they put it into the drawer, and they don't look at it again for the end of the year. And they have a look at the end of the year and go, oh, did that, didn't do that, did that. Waste of time. Much better to put a target in place for the year, yes, but then put targets in place for the quarters, the months, the weeks, and then set daily tasks and goals to lead you towards that target every single day. Incredibly important. Secondly, in terms of client mapping, I mean, obviously you need to get clients to buy your products, right? So you need to map out who the best possible clients for you are. There's no point just doing a scattergun approach and going out seeing all your friends and hoping they'll all buy. You really need to focus on those people who are going to put the most amount of revenue that's going to increase your profits the most. So map out which are the best clients for you to spend your time with, and then go and spend some time with them. And in terms of time, activity mapping is really important. I always used to say to my staff when I was managing teams in the asset management world, I used to say to them, start off in the day maybe doing your admin, because let's face it, we don't really like admin. Get it done when you're fresh in the morning. Then if you're going to go and see some clients, put your main client meeting at lunchtime, because everybody has to eat, right? They're more relaxed then, and you can get more out of them at the time. And then maybe geographically put 2 meetings either side of that lunch meeting. Then when you're in the flow, you can talk about industry, you can talk about products and everything like that. Then in the afternoon, you can make your sales calls to get more meetings in place or try and get more business. And during that time, then you'll be adding more value because you'll be in that flow. And also I find that people are a bit more receptive in the afternoon because they're going home at 5 o'clock. So they're feeling a bit better about themselves as well. And the best time I find to call is either Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, because it's near the end of the week. So they're happy. Now, the other thing that can really help your business is making sure that you get articles out in the PR, maybe in local newspapers or national newspapers, or even in the trade newspapers that you might have as well. Then use those trade articles, because they're free advertising basically, use those trade articles then in social media. Social media is so important, as I know you know there. Look at us, we're here now, especially with COVID and everything like that. I've got 22,000 LinkedIn contacts, and the reason why I really love LinkedIn is because it's a great platform where people put recommendations on, saying what your results are like. They're putting their viewpoint on a public domain, which they wouldn't put their reputation on unless they really believed it. So LinkedIn recommendations, make sure you get loads of them for your business, and then you can utilize them to sell your own business to other people without having to sell yourself. Next in the MAKE acronym is knowledge, or a knowing faith. In terms of knowledge, you need to know your client, know your product, and know your industry, and match your client needs to your USPs. The other thing to do is to know your competition, because where there's competition, there's a sense of lack. Whereas if there's collaboration, then you can create new things from nothing. So find out maybe competitors that have a competitor product in one way, but maybe it isn't actually a competitor product. Maybe, for example, when I was in the investment management industry, I might be selling a UK equity, a UK stocks and shares fund. Someone else might have an American one. So together you can create maybe a seminar together to add more value to your clients. And also you can learn about clients and they can learn about clients between the two of you, and you can help each other in a collaborative manner. Much better to collaborate than be in competition. Now, in terms of a knowing faith in yourself, I always say to people, if I asked you your name and you said Bob or Claire, I would say, do you think your name is Bob? Do you believe your name is Bob? Or do you just know your name is Bob? You know it, right? So know what you want to achieve in life. Know what you want to achieve in your business, and regardless of the ups and downs, know you're going to achieve it. And in terms of that knowing faith, I also always say you need to put your thinking cap on. It's another one of my acronyms. And the CAP acronym is all about, firstly, having clarity, a clear vision of exactly what you're trying to achieve for you and your business as well. Secondly, A is for alignment, making sure that you're totally aligned towards your goals, but also making sure that all your staff have buy-in through employee engagement into that goal as well. And then finally, P is for purpose. It's all about waking up in the morning and knowing what your why is. So you wake up in the morning, you might have like a purpose or a mission statement on your business. As you walk in the door behind reception, you go, whoa, that's why I'm here. Or your clients walk in and they go, wow, they're really doing that. And that's why when you have your why, you create a real love for what you're trying to do. And that love then can be coming from you energetically onto your clients as well, because they can sense it. So freely try and feel a real sense of why, purpose, and then have a love for what you do, and then send that love for your clients. And I always say that love is an acronym for lots of vibrant energy. And the last part of my MAKE acronym is all about energy and enthusiasm. And if you optimize your energy, you can optimize your performance in life, as I said earlier on. Everything in life is energy, and it's so important. Now, the thing that sometimes stops us in terms of achieving our goals is fear. And fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. We all fail, right? At times, we all fail. But just remember, fail is an acronym for first attempt in learning. Everything in life teaches us to project us up to the next level. So it's really important that you don't take the setbacks as really knocking you. Take them as a learning to project you on to the next level, as in one step closer to what you're trying to achieve. Now, that's my MAKE acronym. This is a very, very brief introduction. I have a new course out which will help you understand exactly how to use this in your life to get into what McKinsey call the flow, where you'll be 500% more productive. It's interesting that Forbes magazine said that people that are happier people are 20% more productive, happier salespeople, 37% more productive. And even Fortune's 100 magazine showed that the top 100 places to work for went up 14% per annum in stock market returns, whereas the ones averaged outside of that only went up 5%. So it just shows you how important it is to be in that flow state, how to optimize your energy to optimize your performance. And my online course does exactly that. So I say, if you're listening now, take this down. It's training.doug, D-O-U-G-D, Gordon, G-O-R-D-O-N.com. So training.dougdgordon.com. And you will find a fantastic course there. I train some of the top sports people and CEOs in the world. I work with some of the biggest technology companies, which I'm going to give an example of in a minute. And in terms of that, I train with their SVPs, VPs, and even their presidents. And I've used everything that I've used with all my clients in this course. I've also used everything that I've learned from my radio show as well in this course as well. I have some amazing people on my radio show, such as Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, which sold 500 million copies, Lisa Nichols, Jamie Heaslip, who's the captain of Ireland rugby team, Stuart Lancaster, who used to be the ex-England rugby coach, and many, many others similar like that as well. And I utilize everything that I've learned from them, also everything that I learned in my fund management career as well, and put that into a very succinct 3 to 4 hour presentation course to help you achieve your goals. It'll also help you in terms of getting you back into perfect health if you need to as well. Just to introduce myself, which is, I haven't really introduced myself. So obviously it's Doug Gordon, and I worked in the asset management world for 21 years, worked my way up from customer service to board director and head of sales and marketing for 2 of the biggest fund managers in the world. One of them runs 500 billion. And when I joined in 2006, my division, which is the UK, was bringing in sales of about 50 million. By 2012, we were bringing in 1.75 billion. That's 32 times in terms of growth. Don't worry about the numbers, the numbers are irrelevant. It's about the 32 times in growth. And my course will help you do that in your business as well, if you go on to it. The other thing then, basically what happened to me in 2008, as I'm sure you all remember, it was a pretty tough time. I actually got really stressed. And by the end of 2009, I had so many stress-related ailments that I needed 2 operations on my digestive tract. They went horribly wrong. And then for the next 3 years, I was waking up sometimes 10 times in the night. It was horrible. And then in 2012, I caught a virus, considering we're in this time now. I caught the norovirus, which is the stomach bomb, basically. And for 10 days, I had some serious dehydration. At the end of the 10 days, my electrolytes were so low, it was dangerous. An ambulance was called. I was taken to hospital. And on the way to hospital, ECG said heart, blood pressure doubled, arrived into A&E, was put in one of those trays. And they were worried about my stomach. They were wheeling me down to X-ray. And on the way down to X-ray, suddenly the lights came on. And I was encapsulated in this amazing feeling of love, energy, and connection. I was actually having a near-death experience where I actually died and came back. And I came back with a passion to help people, came back with a passion to help you. And this is what I've been doing now since 2012. I set up a business called DNS Performance Optimization, which is all about coaching, consulting, and corporate training. I also do a lot of keynotes. I've been on stage with some amazing people because when I came out of the near-death experience, I wanted to go into healing to heal myself, which I did. I'm also a master teacher of 5 modalities of healing, and I've healed some pretty famous people across the world. And then on top of that, the healing turned into life coaching to business coaching. And then I was asked to do an onstage talk that led to the radio shows and to where we are now. So if there's anything I can do to help you, obviously, please let me know. And as I said, training.dougdgordon.com is where my online course is in terms of this, which can really help you as well. It's literally the price of dinner for 2 with a nice bottle of wine in a good London restaurant. So well worthwhile. The radio show using the MAKE acronym has gone from 0 to 145,000 live listeners every single week based on the principles in the MAKE acronym and the principles in my course as well. And I'm going to use an example of something that I recently did in terms of my course, but also in terms of the MAKE acronym that I did with a client that won me one of the biggest clients in the world in terms of technology companies. This technology company has 130,000 people plus worldwide. And just in Ireland alone, which is a tiny little country where I'm living, they have 6,500 people. So it's a big company. Their president, which I'm not going to tell you his name, I'm not going to tell you the name of the company either, but their president, let's just call him John. His name isn't John, but let's just call him John. John, I saw on LinkedIn, had got promoted from looking after 110 countries around the world to 180. So I congratulated him. I said, John, I just want to say congratulations on your promotion. I said, if you're ever interested, I'd love to meet you sometime for a coffee. And by the way, I recently spoke at the National Workplace Wellbeing Conference, and here's the presentation video that you can see. Within 10 minutes, he came back CCing his receptionist in, or sorry, his secretary in to say, please set Doug up with a meeting. But 2 weeks later, I was there. Now, this is where the MAKE acronym came in. The first thing I did in terms of mindset, my mindset wasn't to go in and sell to him. My mindset was to make this guy my best possible friend, because he's a very big influencer in terms of the Dublin industry market. And I wanted to make sure that I made him a long-term friend. I didn't want to just sell to him. That was the most important thing for me. So with that mindset, it really works, because it means when you're going into a client, if you've got that mindset, that energy behind you that you're trying to sell, you're trying to get something, you won't get it. Whereas if you go in with the mindset that you want to make this person a lifelong friend, watch what happens. It's incredible. That's the first tip I would give. Secondly, then, obviously, we go on to the MAKE acronym in terms of actions and knowledge. So the activities that I put in place was to try and research and get as much knowledge about this guy as possible. Because when you're doing a sale and when you're trying to create a new client, you need to make sure that you try and find common factors with the person that you're going to develop this relationship with, to develop connection, common factors, and also really have a long-term relationship with them. So I had a look at what he did, and I saw, for example, that he was president of the president of the American Chamber of Commerce. I also saw he was on the committee for the Special Olympics Committee. I saw he had 2 kids, like myself. I saw he also was a Munster rugby fan. I'm a Leinster rugby fan. And also I saw that he'd been doing presentations. This is back in February. He'd done presentations in Vegas, in China, and also he'd done a presentation in Morocco. So I was noting all that down for when I went in to use common factors between me and him. So obviously then I went in 2 weeks later, I went into the business, and the first thing I noticed behind the reception is they didn't have a mission statement. I was very surprised, because most American companies do have that. Secondly, I saw behind the reception with the doors going into the actual offices, there's a lot of buzz, really good energy coming in and out. So I thought I noted that. And eventually he came out. I said, John, really nice to meet you. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I said, as we were walking through the doors, I said, John, I have to say, I was surprised you don't have a mission statement up there. You know, I was talking about this in the National Workplace Wellbeing Conference, how important it is for your staff to come in and see exactly what the purpose is. Get them out of bed every day. Because if you've got that purpose and that why, you'll get out of bed with a bit of a spring in your feet. It's a bit like, you know, when you're going on holiday, it's amazing how you might have only had 2 hours sleep the night before, but you spring out of bed and you're running to the airport with excitement, even though you've only had 2 hours. You might have had 8 hours sleep going into the office when you're going to stare at the computer all day, and it's like a clump, 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 clump. So I told him, I said, you know, the importance of having a purpose and a mission statement behind reception can just remind your staff and give them a little bit of a buzz every day. He said, Doug, that's a really good idea. Actually, we have that over in the States. Thank you for reminding me. I'm just get that here as well. And as we were walking through the door, I said to him, I said, the energy here is amazing, John. You really should, you know, you really have put a really positive vibe in here. And as the leader of the business, that comes down to you. So, you know, I have to congratulate you. So, thank you, John. And as we were walking in towards the coffee shop to grab a cup of tea, he said to me, I said to him, I said, look, I saw you're the president of the American Chamber of Commerce. If ever I can add any value to you, I've already spoken at the Tanzanian Chamber of Commerce, the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, the European Chamber of Commerce, and the Junior Chamber of Commerce just this year. I'd happily add value to you as well, if I can. Oh, thank you, Doug. And then I said to him, I said, also, I've also been an ambassador for the Wooden Spoon charity, which is a Six Nations charity that helps children with mentally and disabled issues. And it's a really good opportunity for you, maybe we can collaborate, because I see that you're part of the committee of the Special Olympics Committee. And he goes, oh, thank you, Doug. Anyway, one thing led to another, and I was really creating a positive bond with him. And he saw I'd done my homework. And presidents and CEOs of companies like to see that their staff and the people they're working with have done their homework. And also, I never once mentioned how good I was or what I did. I'd only matched things to him in order to create a positive bond between the two of us. So at that point, then we went and we went up to his office, because he decided, even instead of going to the coffee shop, he liked what I was saying, took me up to the office. We had a little bit more banter. I said to him, look, I see you're a Munster fan. I know Frankie Sheen used to captain Ireland, also be captain of Munster. Again, he knew him as well, so it was perfect. At that point, I then asked him for permission to sell, because I think this is really important. A lot of people go into business meetings with senior people and they just start ranting on how great they are and how great their business is and how they should buy and all this kind of stuff. But if you ask for permission to sell before you sell, it subconsciously switches on in the person you're selling to, because they've then given you permission to do that. So they then set their intention that they're going to listen to you. So at that point, I said, look, John, we met on LinkedIn. I'd love to show you just a couple of LinkedIn recommendations that might help. In fact, one of them is a technology company like yourself. I went in and did their annual conference to 350 people. It was a 3-hour conference. And then afterwards, their CEO asked me then to work with them. I work with him especially, and I'm his executive coach and have been for the last 2.5 years. And I showed him the recommendation. It said, fantastic, blah, 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 whatever. And he asked me what I did with him. And I said, look, well, the first thing I did was I helped him bring 500 million quid's worth of new business in. Here's his number. If you want to ask, please do. And the second thing I did was I noted, or he told me that he is having some employee engagement issues and some conflict issues within his board. So I spoke with the board and I brought them together and resolved that very, very quickly. Next, his work-life balance was completely out of sync. He didn't have a great relationship with his eldest son and also his wife, because he wasn't seeing them enough. So we just organized that, so he's better organized so that he could achieve a better work-life balance. And he does. He's getting on really well with his wife now and really well with his oldest son, which is fantastic. And then lastly, he was slightly overweight. So I used to be a National League hockey player over in the UK, and also a Premier League hockey in the UK, and also over in Belgium as well. And I used to coach, captain, and train internationals. So I gave him some easy exercises to help him lose weight very quickly and be in the best possible health. It's incredibly important to get yourself into that best possible health as well. So at this point, I finished. That was my sales pitch. I didn't need to do any more. I literally told him what I did for a client. I didn't once say how good I was. I didn't once say how good my company was or anything like that. And at that point, he said, Doug, I'm taking you forward for corporate training. I'm taking you forward for coaching. I'm taking you forward for consulting. I'll introduce you to my HR people, and thank you so much. I got up, shook his hand, walked out the door, got in my car, drove 5 minutes to the nearest garage, pulled over, took out my phone, and straight away wrote him an email. Because it's so important when you go and see your clients is to stay in their energy, because your energy stays with them during that day. Whereas if they go and do loads of other meetings, they'll forget about you. But straight away, I went back to him as quickly as possible, following up. And I literally put, John, it was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that I can help you, as discussed, with corporate training, consulting, and coaching. And sure enough, with less than 10 minutes, this guy looking after 180 countries around the world, probably over 100,000 people, came back to me within 15 minutes. And he'd CC'd in all the different HR people. He said, Sinead, please sort Doug out for this. Niamh, please sort Doug out for that. John, please sort Doug out for that. And within no time whatsoever, I was working with this company. And that is where the make acronym comes in. Positive energy, the right mindset, the right actions, and the right knowledge can lead you to great success in what you do. And this, as I said before, is exactly what my course will do in much more in depth. Anyone out there who buys my course and isn't happy, tell me, I'll give you your money back. But I guarantee I've done this with, I've actually given it out to best-selling authors, New York Times best-selling authors, famous people that you'll know. I've asked, tried and tested with them, and they've come back and said, that's fantastic, Doug. Well done, you. So I really, really think you should have a look at it. Again, I said training.dougdgordon.com. Have a look at that. So how do I make my business grow? It's all about that MAKE acronym. It's all about motivating yourself first, then motivating the people around you, and then motivating your clients to buy. In my course, as I said as well, there's also a brilliant morning, a millionaire morning routine, which I have in there, which will help you as well get into that flow at the start of the day. Secondly, it's about actions and activities, knowing where you are and what you're looking to achieve. Then it's all about energy and enthusiasm. If you optimize your energy, you can optimize your performance in life. In fact, if you think about it, everything in life is energy. Thoughts are energy. Speech is energy. Thoughts lead to speech. Speech leads to actions. Actions leads to habits, and habits lead to destiny. So think smart, talk smart, work smart. And if you're really smart, you'll buy my course or get me into your business to help you. Right. Is there any questions coming up? Let's just have a look. Okay. Question. What is your top tip for approaching people you think would be useful in your entrepreneurial journey, especially during the pandemic? Cold calling via LinkedIn doesn't seem the best approach, especially when you don't have any connections in common. Okay. Well, I don't think you need connections in common, to be honest. I'd never met John from that technology company ever before. And sure enough, I'm now working with them. Cold calling is something that I've done. I actually teach cold calling as well. I've done another course, which is a sales course, because obviously, as I said, I worked in the sales industry for a long time. And normally when we're not in a pandemic, it's all about getting meetings, but you can get Zoom meetings. So it's all about getting the meetings. So don't go onto a call just trying to sell them, because at that point in time, what you've done is you've rung them when they're in the middle of doing whatever they're doing, and you're taking them away from that. So you're distracting them. So try and make the sales call about making the meeting for you, a Zoom meeting, and say, look, really hope I can help you. My name's Doug Gordon. I've got a coaching, consulting, corporate training business. I work with a few people. Have a look at my LinkedIn recommendations. Got 43 of them. The results are there. I'd love to help you, even if you can give me 5 or 10 minutes some other time. Is that possible? And they'll always go, yeah, sure. And then at that point, then just for the 5 or 10 minutes will normally extend to half hour. And then you can utilize that to create a Zoom call or whatever. And when you're on the Zoom call as well, or when you're making that telephone call, the cold call, have the intention that you're going to send as much positive energy to that person as possible, and go on with a real positive vibe, a positive knowing that you're going to achieve what you're going to achieve. It's really, really important to do that. Any more questions? I think there's another one coming up. Advice to your younger self. Very good. So advice to my younger self is, well, quite honestly, is don't worry. I used to worry all the time. I'd also say, actually, a really good one is I give people what I call my gem, is be grateful for all you have. Because when you have gratitude, you open yourself up to receive more. It's amazing how it works. When the universe sees that you're grateful for what the universe has already given you, you receive more. Or even if you don't believe in God or the universe, or whatever, if you believe in your own subconscious, when you feel worthy for receiving that car, receiving that house, receiving that wife, receiving those kids, then you receive more. If you don't feel worthy, your subconscious kind of blocks you. So really important there. So in the gem, the second thing is energy and enthusiasm, but also exercise. You can get that from there. So exercise every day and make sure that you are exercised. And thirdly, as well, it's all about meditation. Meditation, do you know that 80% of billionaires, all the people who have been on my radio show do it. Billionaires, multimillionaires, actors, and athletes, they all meditate in some way or form because they visualize their goals. They visualize what they're trying to achieve in life. But also through meditation, they reduce stress to increase energy for life. And as I said, life is all about energy. And when you wake up in the morning, you've got loads of energy, you can get so much more done. Any more questions? Oh, there's another question here. How do I track my first client without a track record? You have 1 minute. Okay, so right, well, basically, go and do some free stuff. Get some free clients out there, go and do something, offer something for free, and ask for a LinkedIn recommendation. That's one of the best things you can do. Once you have that LinkedIn recommendation, a recommendation that you are successful and you've actually added value to people in some way or form, then you can utilize the recommendation to get more clients. People will believe you when they can see that you had results with someone else. So give something out for free and you get something back as well. If anyone wants to call me, I'll give you a 10-minute consultation for free over the next week. And in fact, if anyone buys my online course at training.dougdgordon.com, I will do a lottery at the end of the month. and I'll pick one person to come on to my radio show, which will give you an opportunity to advertise to 140,000 people. I've also got 22,000 LinkedIn contacts. I'll advertise it all out to them. There's loads of investment people, loads of venture capital people, and loads of private equity people on there as well. So that's the deal. Anybody who buys my online course, I will pick you out, pick one of you out there and give you that opportunity. Any more questions? I think I've run out of time. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody.